Okay, gentlemen, you both received your instructions in the dressing rooms. Obey the commands. Protect yourselves at all times. Right now, we're going to call it here, just under the letters. Right here, just under the letters, all right? Tap it up, let's go to work.
Much was made of coming up 2 weight divisions for Rigo to take on Lomachenko. They weighed in again by way of a clause in the contract this morning to make sure there wasn't too much weight gain by Lomachenko. At 9 a.m., Lomachenko had breakfast. He came in at 137. Rigo checked in at 130 this morning. 12 rounds for the 130-pound world championship. Timothy Bradley, what will you look for early on here?
This is going to be a chess match, a high-level chess match. Lomachenko normally starts a little slow. He picks it up midway point. I think in the beginning, I think he's going to be looking at Rigo, trying to check out his plan, see what he's trying to do, what he wants to do, and he'll pick it up midway point.
One thing we didn't mention, the tail of the tape, these guys have fought together more than 900 times between them. There is 1 loss since 2003.
An absurd combined amateur and pro record of 885 and 14. 885 wins between their amateur and pro careers with these 2 guys in the ring.
Rigondeaux just landed a quick 1-2 on Lomachenko. Lomachenko had his guard partially up, but I thought something went through right there. He met Lomachenko where he was going to be.
Loma comes with a left hand that Rigo was able to duck away from, and then tried to take the angle and come back with the right hook.
Lomachenko just looks so much bigger than Rigondeaux. I mean, it just looks so much bigger.
He's got the 3-inch height advantage. We told you what they weighed in this morning. Of course, rehydrating throughout the entire day after yesterday afternoon's weigh-in as well. Lomachenko number 2 on ESPN's pound-for-pound list. That's exactly what was described in the referee meetings. Now, we showed you that earlier because that was a concern of Lomachenko. What happens when he ties up both of his gloves, and how could he break free? And referee Steve Willis was able to give him the instructions, able to share that with you earlier tonight.
Well, Rigondeaux knows that Lomachenko needs to get close in order to get his work off. That's when he does his best work. So guess what he did? He tied his hands up right away, so he couldn't work. I believe these rounds are going to be really tough to score.
Getting a little closer is Lomachenko. He's just touching Rigo on the inside that time. See the footwork, doubles up that jab with the right hand.
Watch Lomachenko's jab. It is incredibly swift.
Coming with a straight left hand down that time was Lomachenko, as Rigo was caught in that defensive posture he's comfortable in. End of round 1 for the title. This is what happened in the locker room pre-fight. The referee instructions. Loma was concerned. And then this, Tim, was what we saw in the first round.
Exactly. Like I told you, every time Lomachenko steps in, he likes to work. Rigondeaux didn't allow him to work, but that is exactly what he was complaining about to the referee and showing him that's what and he wanted to figure a way out how he can get his hands released.
Lomachenko says he learned all he needed to about professional boxing in his second match against Orlando Salido. Guillermo Rigondeaux might still teach him a thing or two.
Right now, Rigondeaux looks sturdy, not fazed by all the movement that Lomachenko's doing. Looks like he's in total control, but that right hook right there looked like it stung Rigondeaux a little bit.
You could hear it. Bernardo Osuna was listening in to the corner of Guillermo Rigondeaux. Bernie, what can you tell us?
Pedro Diaz, who trained Guillermo Rigondeaux during his amateur career on his way to gold medals, told him, go win points. Very simple, Very precise instructions. Now, how does he do it? That's the question.
Now, that is the big question, because he has gathered up points throughout his career and then coasted home with that classic Cuban style.
Piling up points is an amateur way of thinking, is it not, Tim?
I mean, it's about points, of course. But the thing that I just witnessed right now is that, and the ref didn't say anything about it, but he just clinched them again. And he walked them back to the ropes, and the refs didn't have anything to say about it.
Loma trying to get to the inside behind that jab. There's another moment there, and on what was assumed to be a break, he connected. He was trying to pull free. That was the concern pre-fight, and now Willis will have a conversation with him.
Lomachenko is just he's a well-oiled machine. He can fight anywhere. He knows every area of the ring, inside, outside, you name it.
And that has a lot to do with the footwork that came about with a unique find by his father when he was a kid. He took him away from boxing for a little bit, Mark.
When he was 6, 7 years old, his father insisted on 4 years of Ukrainian dance. He said, no, Dad, I don't want to do it. Can I find another sport? He says, you want to be a fighter, you must learn to dance. And what we do see here is, I would say, the best footwork in boxing.
So he took traditional Ukrainian dance classes. And Timmy, you love Loma's footwork.
Oh my goodness. Don't be surprised if this fight don't go the distance.
Look at the grasping behind the neck by Rigo right there. As I think Steve Willis is going to have to take control of things here at the conclusion of round number 2. Holding behind the neck now by Rigo as he tries to fire off the left uppercut. Back here at the theater at Madison Square Garden, the world title fight, and it has really heated up, mostly because of the action we saw in that final minute of round 2, when Lomachenko had that desire to just keep fighting through what he was trying to pull his arms free of a break, and he landed a solid left hand against Rigondeaux. Pace has clearly picked up here. I'll show you the replay of what we saw in round number 2, and watch this moment here. As they're clinching, he squats down, and then both men come with an exchange. There was the uppercut, and then the straight short left hand by Loma, saying, come on, let's make this a fight. And it is indeed.
We're seeing Rigo's strategy is that hold, and the answer that Lomachenko has is not just a jab, but a double jab.
Look for the straight left hand of Rigondeaux. Of Lomachenko. Look for that shot. It's open. Every time Lomachenko steps forward, you see Rigondeaux lean to his left hand, his left side. He's right in the line of fire for that left hand.
Look at Rigondeaux, able to duck down, get off to the side, stay just, and I mean just, out of the range of some of those punches. There are moments when you watch Lomo and you see what he's able to do with his hands at short range, and then you think about some of the unusual training that you witnessed, Mark. Stuff with the tennis ball on the end of an elastic string, catching quarters in midair.
He's trained for dexterity, both physical and mental. And what they're really going for is the moment where he improvises. The moment where he's so well drilled that he can think on his feet.
I don't know, to me, it seems like Rigondeaux looks like he's discouraged a little bit, in my opinion.
What do you see, Tim?
I don't know. His facial expression, the way he's reacting. You know, there's nothing that he can do right now besides hold to keep Lomachenko off of him.
Loma was able to land a left hand underneath that right elbow. Left hand to the body moments ago here in round 3. Steve Willis with a quick talk to Rigo. Tripling up a right uppercut is the champ.
He is playing with Rigondeaux right now.
When Lomachenko is at his best, he doesn't look like any other fighter. He has what Pacquiao had, what Ali had. Looks like Lomachenko.
He's a little bit of the best parts, the most sensational parts, the most entertaining parts of some of the all-time greats. But to your point, We haven't seen it before. Fourth round of our championship fight. Timmy, let's go back and show you that tripling up of the uppercut by Vasiliy.
Right here, you're going to see Vasiliy Lomachenko throws 3 uppercuts. The second one blocked. The third one comes right up the middle. Guess what? He did that. You want to know how? With pressure. With pressure. He saw how his man reacted. He dropped right in front of him, and he split his guard with the uppercut.
Just the fact to throw a triple uppercut alone, that is Vasiliy Lomachenko. Let's check in with our ringside reporter, Bernardo Osuna.
Frustration in the blue corner of Guillermo Rigondeaux. Pedro Diaz basically threw water in his face, said, "You've got to take risks. What are you waiting for?" So they see what we see.
You know, it's interesting because we've talked about that for months, since the time that he accepted his fight. You can't take this fight without knowing that you're going to have to take risks, Mark.
Well, I mean, Rigondeaux says that he's taken all the risks he could ever take, and nothing could.
Wow. I mean,
it's just a matter of time, guys.
He can clown anybody. Sorry to interrupt, but it's Loma. Look at this. This is moments ago. Watch him, get him in a defensive posture, know that he's got him pinned, and say, you know what, I'm just going to turn right around you in the middle of a championship fight.
Lomachenko haven't even turned it up yet. Midway point. Just watch. Just watch. Angles, speed. I've never seen anybody play with Rigondeaux the way he's playing with Rigondeaux.
An undefeated world champion, and he's toying with him at moments.
Listen to the beat of his punches. It's like music. It's like it's improvisational. It's like jazz.
But it's all set up by his feet. Look at his feet.
And he is riffing in there. And pushing him back, create a little space. Final minute of round 4, goes back to the uppercut, then switches it up with the left hand as well. Comes to the inside, gets a little work in the kitchen.
Rigondeaux landed a nice short uppercut in that exchange.
How about the body punch with the right hand? Now to the inside, the uppercut with the left hand as Rigo goes to the belt line.
Tim, is this Rigo getting old, or is he just outclassed?
I think it's a combination of both. I just think, honestly, I think he's 37, but also at the same time, I believe he is getting outclassed at the very moment. But there's time still left, everybody. That's why I love boxing. You always have a chance.
Lomachenko dug to the body again that time, and wrapping up, trying to free his hands again is Lomachenko.
It's just a whole lot of clinching.
Rigo now inviting him forward, often trying to set traps, but not able to deliver. 17-0 is Guillermo Rigondeaux. But Timmy said, outclassed so far tonight by the champ, Vasiliy Lomachenko.
Rigondeaux says he's seen everything. Nothing worse could be done to him that was done in Cuba. I don't think he's seen this before.
Never seen anything like Lomachenko before. Lomachenko said he's the Cuban assassin. He's beat about 7 of them in his amateur career, and he's about to be number 8.
Lomachenko has been brought up by his dad, Anatoly, to be what he is seeking to be, and that is the perfect fighter, the most skilled fighter to ever live. That is the goal. This is such a unique relationship with Anatoly, Mark.
It's usually a failed experiment to create a perfect athlete in anything, much less a sport, is dangerous and treacherous. As this one, the strength and conditioning coach, Cecilio Flores, asked Anatoly, when did you know? Anatoly turned to him and said, before he was conceived.
Yeah, we rave about him, and someone would look at the record and say, yeah, but what about that one loss? Well, folks, when you fight a world champion for a world title in your second pro fight, and you make that transition to the pro ranks, guy comes in overweight, roughs you up, continued low blows. It's a learning lesson. But Mark, when you go back to the past, and this is where Floyd Mayweather did a disservice to the sport for many years, because we started overvaluing the zero in the loss column. But all the greats of past generation had a loss. In fact, they used to say you're not even ready to fight for a world title until you've learned from a loss.
Well, I don't think your career becomes a dramatic proposition until you lose. A loss is the most overrated commodity in all boxing.
There was a punch right there on the break. You saw Steve Willis come in, and then Rigo still through, but this has become an issue with the clinching, and there's a combination from Rigo. Tried to dig to the body. That was blocked by the elbows of Loma. Bent over time and time again.
It's really, I'm going to tell you this, it's really hard hitting a guy that's going down so low like that. It really is.
That time he turned to give an angle with the right hand.
Well, Lomachenko, there's nothing that he hasn't seen. There's nothing that he can't do in the ring, and he's going to find a way on how to hit this man while he's down like that.
What would you be doing, Tim?
Well, I would go to the side he leans to. I would throw my right hooks like he's there right there. That's what I would do, and come behind it when he pops up with the straight left hand.
You have to remember, this is a guy who has not lost since 2003, and the best he's got is ducking and holding.
Mary threw his punch with the most intent that we've seen tonight. Look at Lomo as he's being ridden back in a headlock that time, looking over to the referee. I think Steve Willis is going to have a lot of work ahead of him as we get to these middle and later rounds here of this world title fight as Loma's in control. These are two top 10 pound for pound fighters in the world, but right now it seems like there is a big gap between the guy who's number 2 and the guy who's number 7.
For a guy who considers himself a gentleman sportsman, Lomachenko, he certainly adapted well to a dirtied up style, wouldn't you say, Tim?
That he learned from the Salido fight. You know, that was something that he was missing in his repertoire. You know, and I like it. I honestly like it. He's not going to allow anybody to be dirty with him and hit him with low blows or hit him in a headlock. And that's the way you react as a professional. If you want to be dirty, I'm going to be dirty right back. If the ref doesn't want to do anything about it, I'm going to do something about it.
Bernardo, what can you offer?
You know, in the corner, it was very interesting because they told him, we want you to spin him, we want you to feint and then throw quick combinations, and reminded him of that Salido fight because that's what changed. And you'll remember what he told us in the fighter meetings. Lomachenko said, I only need to make a mistake once and I learn, and that's what he's proven tonight, much to Tim and Mark's point.
Yeah, that Salido fight was the great learning experience. Put a notch in the belt. And now he's dealing with it perfectly here against Rigondeaux. And you can see he's getting a little more used to some of these tactics, especially with Rigondeaux bending down, creating a little bit of space, and then pumping in those right hands. Now turns to the side, takes the angle to the left to try to find something.
Tim, how do you solve Lomachenko, or how do you attempt to if you're Rigondeaux?
All I'm going to say is that I don't think that person is born yet. I truly believe that. His footwork.
There's a point deduction now as Rigondeaux is going to be docked a point. I mean, he is so far down on the scorecards, seemingly as it is, but that is the first moment that Willis is making him and holding him accountable here.
The writer Bryn Jonathan Butler did a study on Cuban fighters, and he said that Rigondeaux's face was the saddest I've seen on the island. And that pathos is what I saw in the corner there. A defeated guy.
A guy who was once a hero to countrymen, and then Fidel Castro called a traitor as he was trying to find freedom. And he found freedom, and he found wealth, and he found fame. But tonight, deep into the autumn of his career, he is finding the most skilled fighter in the world opposite him. Another combination from Loma, and Loma once again looks over at Willis. As we come to the end of round number 6 here.
Повнимательный на сгибание. Повнимательный на сгибание. Он согнулся. И паузу. получает, поэтому не получается. Четвертый разворот. И оттуда снизу, как можно ниже. Рука заблокирована, ты без...
There's a discussion going on in the corner of Rigondeaux here in between the 6th and 7th round as they're looking at the tape. That's it. He is saying, I don't want any more. Are you kidding me? The undefeated number 7 pound-for-pound fighter is not coming out to continue against Loma. Beaten down, hopeless, without an answer, and Lomachenko has made Rigondeaux quit.
Rigondeaux's American dream remains unclaimed. And we have now, at least from my perspective, a new pound-for-pound king, and maybe a new entry in the history of boxing.
Yeah, honestly, I still think there's groundwork, but I've never seen anybody with skills like Rigondeaux. I can tell. I mean, excuse me, like Lomachenko. Never seen anybody like skills like him. Amazing, amazing, amazing.
He was clowning him as early as the 2nd round. He threw the triple uppercuts in the 3rd. It continued time and again. The fouling started by Rigondeaux. Bernardo, what were you able to gather in that corner of the Cuban?
All right, there's different versions because it's an injured hand, and Pedro Diaz was messing with the left glove of Guillermo Rigondeaux, and he wanted to take the glove off as soon as he went into the corner. And I asked Pedro what happened. He says he's not going to continue. He's not going to continue. It's his hand.
Listen, you can talk about injured hands all you want. That's part of fighting. Many championship fighters, many fighters have won championship fights with injured hands. Happens all the time. You got to act like a fighter. You got to continue. Your reaction to hearing that?
I don't know about that. I don't know. I think that's just trying to find a way out.
Exactly.
I don't know about that. I didn't even see him really land a left hand.
Say what you want. You can come up with anything in that corner. The bottom line is he didn't continue on, and Lomachenko's the reason why. As Lomachenko in his promotional camp gathered here, they will look at that hand. They are looking at that left hand. Surviving and advancing is part of the game. This was the conversation with trainer and fighter. Do you want to continue? And he said no. You shook the head off, and then he goes to the right hand to start untaping the right glove. And that was the end of it. In a dominating performance by Vasiliy Lomachenko. Rigondeaux came in 17-0. He moved up 2 weight classes. We talked about the inactivity. We talked about the concerns of being older. We talked about being the naturally smaller man. He was not the more talented man.
In many ways, what I saw tonight was harmony, Lomachenko versus entropy. Rigondeaux trying to muck it up by holding. The first round, by anyone's standard, was very, very close. And what you saw was Lomachenko adapt on the fly.
I love what I saw tonight. I did not expect, well, I kind of did from the first round. I expected that, you know, this fight possibly wouldn't go the distance. Granted that the way...
Let's check in with Bernardo one more time.
Excuse me.
No, you're fine.
All right, when I was talking to Pedro Diaz in the corner, he said apparently he hurt his hand. And then I looked at Rigo and I said, Rigo, what happened? He pointed to the top of his left knuckle. But it's very suspect because you saw on that image how it was the right glove that they were playing with originally in the corner. So it may be protecting the fighter's reputation.
Let's go up to Michael Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, here at Madison Square Garden, the contest comes to an end as the challenger, Rigondeaux, has indicated an injury to his left hand. His corner tells the referee he cannot continue. At the end of round 6, the winner by TKO victory, still the WBO super featherweight champion of the world, and the new claimant to pound for pound as the best fighter in the world, Vasiliy Lomachenko.
A TKO win for Vasiliy, and we will hear from the champ as well as Guillermo Rigondeaux after this short break and a return to Top Rank Boxing on ESPN. Vasiliy Lomachenko outlanded Rigo 55-15. Rigo couldn't come out and continue. A TKO victory. Let's go up to Bernardo.
Thank you very much, Joe. Vasiliy, that's 4 guys that don't come out of their corner in a row. What's your new nickname?
Maybe I changed my second name. Maybe I changed it, and now my name is No Mas Chenko.
All right. How were you able to be so dominant tonight against a fighter who's got so much talent, who's got such a great pedigree like Guillermo Rigondeaux?
He's a good fighter. He's a top fighter. He's a king in the boxing, but he's a king in his weight category. It's not his size. It's not his weight. So it's not big win for me because it's another weight category.
But it's a big win for boxing because people wanted to see this fight. It was a mythical matchup. What's next for you after this big win?
I don't know. I need to rest 1 month maybe, and after that I begin training, prepare for my fight. What about my next fight? I don't know. We need to ask my promoter Bob Arum.
How much did the Orlando Salido fight help you in terms of developing when another fighter is going to get dirty?
You know, he learned me just a low blow, punch a low blow. That's it.
And nonetheless, a brilliant performance once again by Vasiliy Lomachenko.